Quick heads up, podcast listeners. This June only, you can grab the MFR Coaches Legal Toolbox and website legal bundle together for just $299. That's a savings of $399 to legally protect your MFR practice and website with lawyer-drafted, customizable documents made just for you. Go to themfrcoach.com/toolbox before June 30th to get the deal. Welcome to the MFR Coaches podcast, where we talk about how you can create a six-figure MFR practice. I'm your host, Heather Hommel. Not only have I been practicing MFR for 11 years, I'm also a life and business coach, especially for MFR therapists. My goal is for you to understand how to get fully booked, how to talk to your clients, and how to make sure they understand what's possible for them with MFR treatment. I'm here to help you stop under-earning, overworking, and burning out. I'll lend support so you can create the MFR practice you've always wanted. Learn how you can do it too, even if you live in a tiny town, and even if you're just starting out, and even if you've ran your practice for years. Let's go. Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the MFR Coaches podcast. I cannot believe that we are well into May by this point. Where is all of the time going? Where has the time gone? Just kidding. I'm not going to sing to you, even though I just did. Man, but seriously. Okay, what are we going to talk about today? I want to talk to you all about, that feeling you get when a client cancels. Maybe you booked them last minute a week ago because they were begging you to get in, and you put them in a spot that you didn't intend to work in because you felt obligated to let them in. And now they've late canceled, and you didn't collect a payment. You didn't really inform them of your policies because it was just kind of like out of the regular norm for how you allow clients to come in to your world. So now you're pissed and you're kind of spinning out. You're frustrated and you're upset and you don't know what to do. But this client, you're thinking, really needs to pay for this behavior that they've treated you with, right? Like they've now spun you out and it's their responsibility to make you feel better, is probably what you're thinking. That's what the average therapist thinks, especially when you don't have policies and procedures in place. This is one of the things that I teach inside both of my programs, is having really enforceable policies. This doesn't mean that you have crazy policies where there's no wiggle room and no ability to edit or make new decisions. It just means that you basically have come up with a flowchart of how you handle decisions that you make in your business that affect you and your clients. One of these things is booking clients outside of your availability due to the feeling of being obligated. That is not your client's responsibility. That is your responsibility. So when a client calls and they need to get in and you don't have openings for a while, it is not your responsibility to book that client as soon as possible. That's just not how it works. What your responsibility is to educate them and let them know when your next availability is and get them booked in then. Bodywork, myofascial release, none of it is an emergency. It can feel like an emergency, right? Like if someone's neck is out or their hip is out or they're having a really bad pain and they want to get in, yes, that can seem like an emergency. And being in a healing profession, you're going to want to get that person in as soon as possible. But in order to hold your boundaries and to stick to your policies that you made when you were not in this situation, so that you could have the best outcome possible for yourself and your clients, you're going to need to be able to say the sentence of no, not right now. Otherwise, what will happen is you will work when you don't want to work, which creates resentment. And then the other thing that can happen is the client will cancel, or the client will no-show, or they'll late cancel. And then you'll have even more resentment towards the client, and you'll make decisions about enforcing your policies based on how you feel in that moment. And we never want you to be in that position in the first place. So that's why I really encourage you to create policies, learn how to figure out what works best for you in your business and make all of those decisions ahead of time, not when you're in the middle of a crisis, and be able to enforce your policies. So policies are only as good as your ability to enforce them. So something that you can take away from today is you can require all new clients to either pay in full before their appointment or put down a deposit or give you their credit card information so that you're holding that on file. Secondly, you can make it very obvious what happens when or if they cancel, when or if they cancel outside of your cancellation period, and when or if they no show for an appointment that they prepaid for. If you're just thinking, you know what, I don't want to have to give refunds and I don't want to be stuck with fees, then what you can do is make that a thing, right? Make sure that the client understands that if they cancel, that there are no refunds, and then tell them what is possible for them, right? They can be rescheduled. Or if there are refunds, that it's minus any fees that you incur. Okay. You can make all of this obvious and make this something that they agree to when they sign up. So then if they were to contest this through their credit card company or something, which is also another thing I can hear your brain arguing about, you have all this proof that they agreed to these policies ahead of time. So you need to have it stated in very clear terms and conditions and very clear policies on your website, on your scheduling software, in your reminder emails. Like all of that needs to be crystal clear, not only to your clients, but to yourself. So you understand your policies better than your clients do, and you're not afraid to explain them to them as well. That's another like kind of red flag. If you are hesitating to tell a new client what the policy is around refunds, around rescheduling, around late cancels, cancellations in general, if you're hesitating to tell someone your policy, you're not going to be able to enforce that policy, or you're going to enforce it only when you feel a certain way, or only when you're angry enough, and only when you're pissed. And the thing is I never want that feeling to be what motivates you to enforce a policy. I want you to just have a circumstance happen and you just go through your flow chart of when this happens, I do this. When this happens, I do this. And it's really neutral and not dependent on who the client is or how you're feeling that day, because that makes for a really loosey-goosey business, and also a business owner who's really up and really down, dependent on what clients do or say or how they behave. And you never want your own personal behavior or experience to be dependent on how someone else shows up for you, right? That's kind of sucky to be able to be at that kind of vulnerability where whatever someone else does or says is going to affect your day or affect how you respond in a situation. So always have your policies set up. And now, if your business has been running smoothly and you don't have these policies, what I want you to know is that it's not if this is going to happen to you, it's when this is going to happen to you. And so far, good for you. You haven't had this happen, but it's not coming for you. And so I really suggest that you figure this out and get help, get your policies in place, and really understand how you want to respond when something like this happens, a late cancel or you going against your policies. How do you want to respond? How do you want to never be in that position that you're going to say yes when you mean no? What do you want to do about it ahead of time? Figure it out. These are all of the like little nook and cranny things that when you're in the beginning of your business seem to be not that big of a deal. But once you're booked, or once you're almost booked, and there's that urge to just like sneak one more person in, or there's that feeling or sense of like feast or famine that makes you want to add as many people as possible because you never know when business is going to dry up. Does any of that sound familiar? That kind of thinking leads to that behavior where you start to say yes and do things that you don't want to be doing. So just be on to yourself and have a policy in place. Like if 12 is your fully booked number, don't book more than 12 people just in case someone cancels. Don't do it. I guess I have a lot to say about this. I like to share this stuff with you guys so that you can make these decisions ahead of time and you're not in the middle of a stressful situation, or you're not thinking like, oh, I booked that person because I really needed that money and now they're not coming and now nobody is going to be coming. And it just leads to this whole spin out that is totally, totally optional. And another part of this, and I've talked about this before, but it's taking responsibility for your business and for the results that you want to have in your business. Taking that full responsibility around, I am in charge of my business. And if I'm not feeling good in it, it's because of decisions that I just haven't made yet, or I've made decisions that are no longer working and I need to make a new decision. So that happens all the time. All the time we think something's going to work and then we find out it's not working. So instead of trying to make something work that doesn't work, just make a new decision and try something else. See if that will work better. A lot of your business is going to be trial and error and failing, quite frankly. And the more you're willing to just give something a try and see how it will work for you, and then when it's not working, make another or a new decision, and always have that willingness for it not to work out how you wanted it to, the quicker you will see what you want as the outcome, and the quicker you'll figure out what works and what doesn't work for your business. And day to day, year to year, month to month, you will be making new decisions outside of the decision that you made 6 months ago. And that's okay. When you build a business and you are willing to do what it takes to keep that business going, you need to have that flexibility in your decision making. You need to have that flexibility around being willing to get it wrong before you get it right, being willing to hear no, being willing to have clients that cancel and that don't follow your rules, because let's just face it, that is what is statistically is going to happen at some point. Someone's going to late cancel, someone's going to no show. That's what's going to happen. And you can't fully prevent that from happening ever, even with the best intentions and the best policies. So you've got to remember that flexibility is the key, and making these decisions ahead of time before the thing happens is going to help you enact your policies so that you aren't the one that ends up losing money. And also, so you're not the one charging someone a late fee just because you're mad. Okay. Make sure you're charging those late fees based on what your policy is and not based on who the client is or how pissed you are in the moment, because that's just bad business. And at the end of the day, you want to have great client and customer service so that your clients want to come back. And even though someone starts out maybe a little bit rocky where they get ill before they come in, or they just decide it's bad timing and they have something come up and they've got to cancel, you want to ensure that you're providing the best care of that client even before they are your client, because you never know when they'll be back, who they're going to tell, and who is going to come because of your great service, right? And I'm not saying this in a way where you need to be afraid of the client or afraid of what the client will do or say. It's more like, how do you want to be treated in these situations? Because we're all human. We all do things where we forget and we don't show up, or we're late, or we double book ourselves and maybe we find out last minute, or we wake up with diarrhea. I mean, that sucks, right? And you can't tell over the phone if I have diarrhea or not. And if you're making decisions based on the tone of voice or what you think the person is doing or not doing, it's not doing the client a good service. And it's not doing you a good service in the long run either. So make all of these policy decisions way in advance of you ever needing it. If you haven't done it so far, it's time to do it now, because I hate to be the one to say, I told you so, when this goes south for you. So make your policy decisions, make sure that they're enforceable, and make sure you have a flow chart. When this happens, I do A, B, or C. When this happens, I do D, E, and F. And here's the grace period, or here's the freebie that I extend to everybody, regardless of what the excuse is. Do you do that or not? I recommend you have some sort of freebie situation where people get out of jail one time for free across the board. And that's your other opportunity to educate them on your policy and fill them in and let them know, like, hey, I'm doing you a solid here, but next time this happens, I will charge you, or it is 50% of the service fee, whatever you have determined is best for you and your business. Okay. So go out there, look at your policies, pull them up, pull up your Google document where you have all of your policies in writing and see what needs edited, see what needs added to, see where you're not comfortable enforcing them, and take the time to play with that. And if you're really confused or you're thinking, I don't have any idea what Heather is talking about, I just wing it every day, really consider joining my coaching program where you don't wing anything and you set yourself up so you know you have the support to make these decisions easily and quickly. And when you go to enforce them, all of the things that happen and all of the thoughts that you have in your brain and all of the spin up that occurs no matter what, you have support there so that you don't stay stuck and you don't make that a problem that then affects your selling of MFR or of you getting fully booked. We are very supportive in the community and we would love to have you join us. So I'll see you on another episode of the MFR Coaches Podcast. Bye for now.
Thanks for joining me today. If you enjoyed today's episode, please take a minute and rate and review the podcast. I appreciate it. For more information, please follow me on Facebook and Instagram at The MFR Coach. And check out my website, www.themfrcoach.com for more information. If you are currently not working 20 hours or less and making six figures in your MFR business, I want to help you change that. Make sure you tune into the show and get on my email list so you never miss out on important trainings and information. To be the first to find out when we are enrolling next for my 12-month Business Foundations coaching program, get on that email list at www.themfrcoach.com/join. Inside this program, you'll learn how to raise your rate, overcome objections, and sell MFR. You'll become the MFR therapist that never under-earns and never burns out. It's up to us to make MFR mainstream, and it starts with you and your successful MFR practice. See you next week.